Welcome to the Jira Life, the place to find news, events, and interviews with the Atlassian community's movers and shakers. Because we didn't choose the Jira Life chose us. Thank you to Revise for backing us up and making the Jira Life possible.
So Andy might be onto something. Should we have Bob come back on so he can do the intro and the outro, and Rob does one or the other? Just get him on record.
I mean, I'm still not revealing which one did the original intro, which one did the original outro.
Oh, we should play a game then. Can somebody say we didn't choose the Jira Life? Each of you alternate and see if the chat can catch it.
We didn't choose the Jira Life. The Jira Life chose us.
Oh man. So no, for real, do it for real. Like which ones did what? So say it. We didn't choose the Jira Life. The Jira Life chose us.
Because we didn't choose the Jira Life chose us.
All right, there's one. Let's hear the other one.
Because we didn't choose the Jira Life chose us.
Ooh. So in the chat, who's who? Who's the intro? Who's the outro? Although I guess right now they're both the same, right?
Yeah, we recently updated the outro. So
for all the oldies, who was who?
I say I forget. So
I know the truth, but I'm not sharing
How
it.
did this even come to be though, Rob? Who made the call?
I think Rodney just slacked me one day and said, "Hey, would you mind doing this quick recording?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." And then here we are.
I for the longest time thought it was Bob. I was like, I could have sworn that was Bob's voice.
Most of the fans thought it was Bob.
We have a winner on the outro.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Mr. Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
I could be a voice double though. That could be a fun thing, Bob.
Here you go.
I had I don't know if I should be saying this publicly on the internet, but I had a buddy. I'm gonna try not to get anybody in trouble, but I had a buddy who he got hired online to do some Jira work for someone, and he's like, I need to impersonate another individual who's like, I just need to sound Indian. It was what he told me, right? Because he was some Indian person got hired to do a job. He didn't want to do it. And so that Indian person hired another Indian person with a similar accent. And he said, go and be me. And I'm like, how in the world do you fake something like that? And then the audacity to do something like that too. So Rob and Bob, if you guys ever need to swap voices.
Oh my God. And this is why remote work is sometimes not always accepted.
Well, I am looking at 5R, and there's a lot of jobs out there for voiceovers. So, reading material and things like that. So
Do it. You got a good voice for it.
Well, thank you.
That's kind of exciting though, if there's still those possibilities with AI, right? That they haven't completely taken yet.
No, because the AI still sounds like a robot. Bob is somebody I would want to listen to. I wouldn't mind listening to Bob's voice.
I will.
That does bring up a good question, Bob. Why is there not an audiobook version of our book?
Bob, let's do it. Send me a copy. I'll just read a chapter. I'll send that back.
That would be fantastic.
Bob, why don't we have an audio?
It would take me like 4 years to get through the audiobook though, because you guys would just sort of relax me and I was
going to say she'd fall asleep in 30 seconds.
Exactly.
That's how you market it though. It's like it helps you relax and fall asleep.
Sleep aid.
Right. Yeah. And then I'll be like, I had the craziest dreams. Like I was running, but then I had to go into a Jira into a Jira issue. Sorry, work item, and update a status.
Hey, I just found out in the data center there's still issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Like, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. What's going on, man?
But you all don't have that thing that pops up on your screen when you say the I word.
We're still allowed to say it here.
Oh, you can say it here. Issue?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have
Can't
an
you
issue with
work?
that?
Yeah, when you work in the data center.
And you know what else we forgot to do, guys? Speaking of all the lovely observations that we enjoy Rob making, we all need to go like this, I think, don't we? So that we can read the navigation.
Make sure it makes sense. Oh, there it is.
Problem is, then everything else is 90 degrees. So
Exactly.
You need to make a Chrome extension that flips everything else 90 degrees.
We just kind of jumped into it. Rob, for our audience who may not know you, why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
My name is Rob Hean. I'm now a freelancer making content online, mostly in the Atlassian ecosystem. I started out as an Atlassian creator when those were still a thing, and I have this wonderful T-shirt to prove it. But my whole shtick is to fill the gap between where we show up at our job and we're told to use Jira or Confluence or Rovo or whatever, and we've never been trained on it. Like, I've never met anyone who came out of university and said, "Wow, that class I had on Jira was great." We
You
have
haven't
these
taken
people
my
who are-
class yet?
You give a university class, Alex?
Yeah, in Cal State Long Beach, my alma mater. We got one going on.
Well, I stand corrected. But I think back to when I learned how to use it, and it was literally just that's how to log in, and that was it. And so I think back earlier, Rob, what would he benefited from having available? Oh, geez.
Rob, we all have
Legend
nicknames. for-
Tour remains.
It's so funny. I don't know if Rob talked to you about this, but yesterday him and I were chatting. We're like, we need to give you a nickname.
I don't have one. We got the Jira guy. I get trying to point to him. We got Dr. Jira.
Or Jira Mom, which she's still not landed on, but she's going to stick with it until something better comes through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love some help. Folks in the chat, the Jira Life. What's a good nickname for me?
We got Atlassian Legend.
That's a
But it's
I'm
not
kind
very
of partial
specific.
to the voice.
Sarah
Yeah,
walked around.
exactly. Exactly.
Oh, the voice.
The
Yeah.
voice.
The voice of Atlassian.
You should do the voice of Atlassian.
Yes.
The TVA. Wasn't that from Loki, the Time Variance Authority?
Yeah.
I mean, you could borrow the branding; it's already recognized.
Oh,
You
geez.
just need to look like a very creepy little, I don't know, happy face or whatever that sun clock or whatever that clock thingy was.
Oh, Miss Minutes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The Stu saying Darth Hean.
Dorothy would not be bad.
I have someone in the Discord community put me into the Kermit meme where it's Kermit talking to Darth Kermit, and I'm the guy under the hood. So I've got a Darth Hean image.
We got a Jira Whisper.
No, it's got to be.
I
Oh,
don't whisper
wait,
very much. I tend to be pretty loud.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
We should
Jira
do an
ASMR
entire
now?
we should do an entire ASMR Jira episode.
I was gonna say this would be ASMR. You could have the clicks and everything.
So I had to pull this up on LinkedIn because I had to know. Kythera from the Discord is the one who recommended Jira Whisper.
Oh, Kythra pulled that up. Yes, she's a good friend through Discord.
Just call it like Rob Issues Hean.
It would be Rob, the thing formerly known as Issues Hean.
Yes.
Oh, Ronnie, I was pleasantly surprised as I'm digging around in data center. Roll up story points is still allowable in the plans in the data center. I'm a hashtag just move back to data center team now. Jira works so much better when it looks the way it's
And
supposed to look.
you do this after I spent 12 months with you getting certified in cloud.
You know, right? I'm moving to data center. That's
We'll just
that's
switch
the only thing I
spots.
can.
You can be the last holdout. Just put some servers right behind you and run it from there so everyone can see it, and then have like a live stream of it 24/7.
I say as I sit here and look at my rack.
Well,
li-
I'm just glad I found a Jira that finally like makes sense again.
I know that's the funny thing for me though with all the cloud changes, right? Like for the folks who start using it in the next month, they're only going to know the sidebar UI. They're only going to know Jira Spaces. They're going to hear us talking about Jira projects. Like, what's wrong with you guys?
I know, right? But it's so interesting that Atlassian is dividing their customer base like that. Like I would have surely thought that they would have been on the work items bandwagon too. Like that's just going to create such a divide between
Well,
people talking.
I'm going to put this prediction out here now for the data center folks. Jira 11, watch it. They're going to change it to work items and
When's that?
spaces at the same time.
When's that coming out? 2029,
Oh.
30, 2040?
No,
Or is
probably
it?
2026.
The bigger question is it? Will there be
Will there be
Jira Data Center 11?
Or will they stop at like 10.9, 10.99, 10.999?
So, what do you
10.995.
think about version numbers? Because I remember this when Minecraft was doing it, and I love this joke, is it's not decimal. So you could have, obviously, 1.10, 1.11, but also 1.banana is perfectly viable.
Yes.
There is a IEEE standard though on versioning.
I mean, there is, but it's
That's still fun.
still
Doesn't include
you don't
bananas.
have to follow it. You could
No.
have anything as version number.
It's like a major rev, minor rev, and hotfix rev.
The
Yep.
video game Destiny did a good job of that, where their error codes were all like actual words a human could read instead of error code, a hash value or something. And I really appreciated that because you could read it.
Oh, the early access program for Jira 11 is already out.
Ah, okay.
So it's not
And
a
it
matter of if,
Oh.
Sarah. It's a matter of when.
I thought that
Okay.
was excited Atlassian people. Thank you for the clarification.
No,
I thought it was just some sort of heap thing at first.
I read it as heap.
What?
I read
Wait,
heap
no.
is out now. Like, I thought we were doing a play on words with Hean and heap.
Right?
Hean the heap.
It took me a second. Well, I'm curious though. I'm just gonna start in on Robert though, because you said you're doing the things that you thought everybody else that people would benefit from, right? So
Yeah.
because you just kind of went deep in on, you're like, I don't know what this Atlassian stuff is. I don't know, especially like how Confluence works. What kept you in it though? So you did it, you learned it, but then what has kept you like wanting to keep doing it so much, right? Kept you in the community.
Right? Like I've been using Atlassian products since about 2013. Like when I moved to the Bay Area, the first company I worked at happened to have it. So I was forced into it. I didn't have a choice. I've never had the opportunity at a company where if you're assessing systems to pick an Atlassian product or some other product because you've assessed it. I was just told we're using these tools. So I kind of got trapped in it. And not that that's good, bad, or otherwise, but that's a very common experience for many people. And so over the years, as I've been at other companies, they happen to have used it. So I've been in the same position as being the person on the team who's expected to help support systems. And mainly it's back office teams. So not even like engineering who stereotypically would use it or customer support. It's been like HR, finance, payroll, the teams that are pigeonholed into it and then suffer because they don't know how to set up JSM or they don't know how to manage a space. So I'll go in and help them figure that out. And I've retrained, like I've built the same training deck probably 47 times because I've changed jobs. And that then got me to hang on, wait a minute. I could kind of do this at scale and help more people on the creator side. So it was just an extension of me seeing over about a decade, building the same stuff, seeing the same problems at companies of all sizes that operate in all environments all over the world. Like there's got to be a better way.
No, it's interesting though, because talking about all the different teams, and I know it's a little, dare I say, contentious bit about who Jira's for.
Everyone now.
The customer bases, right?
I mean, this whole Jira, but for blank, has been an ongoing theme for about what, 5 years now, Alex?
Yes.
It's Jira, but for IT. It's Jira, but for legal. Jira, but for
I think
marketing.
we're on the Jira for all bandwagon now.
Are we? Are we?
I
Can we
am.
like mark that?
JFA or J4A.
J4A.
And that it's not Confluence for those teams and Jira for these teams, right? It can be for both of them.
which is not to be confused for A4J, which is automation for Jira on data center. Alex, you should be taking notes.
It's interesting though, like it's easy to get stuck. My background just in general systems. And I worked at a company that did an assessment and they had something like 223 different cloud apps floating around. And they had 4 or 5 different tools that did some kind of task tracking. And so they determined, hey, we're going to get rid of 4 of them and just use Jira because that's what we're paying for. Everyone else stopped doing it. So when we think of systems on the whole, like holistically, it makes more sense because companies are paying a good chunk of change to use these tools. They need to make a decision. And once they pick, I'll use Jira, yes, it can be used in different ways. And that's where you see this friction. And that's where like we can help enable folks because most people think of it and they think, I'm not a software engineer, right? I'm a finance expert. I'm a marketer. I'm a fill in the blank. And that makes it hard for them to approach it because they're afraid, essentially. It's so complicated and so hard to use. And like we all know, once you figure it out, it's not that hard.
But Atlassian solved that problem too now.
Yeah, team managed projects. You're right, Alex. I'm glad you endorsed them.
But still, this is something that a talented Jira admin has been able to facilitate teams with since pretty much the inception of Jira because it is so flexible. what I think they're doing now is just making sure. Let's just start with the understanding Jira is never going to be 100% what it needs to be out of the box for any organization.
Unless you have team managed projects.
Even then, you've got to do some configuration there. I think what Atlassian's really trying to do is just get us like 75% of the way there, and then let admin take the last 25%.
I was listening to that Forge talk yesterday with Catalina, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's how your admins can use Forge to help make their lives easier, and like the use case that they were explaining was totally a use case for company managed projects, and I'm like, why the heck did you guys create team managed projects then? Because they're like this was the interesting use case, right? Like they're saying like, okay, so your Jira gets a little out of control. You got all these custom fields, and very back to your talk yesterday, Rodney, right? On custom fields galore. Everybody gets a custom field. We got duplicate custom fields. And with team managed projects, guess what you have? A crap ton of the same custom fields, because up until like 3 months ago, nobody could see that another custom field existed. At least now there's some sharing, but when you enable every individual in your organization to create a custom field, you're going to end up with mayhem.
I feel like there should be a phrase here, right? You can give the permissions to the person, but you can't make them an admin or something like that.
I think the comment they're pulling up here with Kiefer is pretty spot on.
If you try to build something that's 100% ready out of the box for 100% of customers, you'll have maybe 5% customer satisfaction. And I'm reading that for our, people listening on Spotify, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's very much a one size fits none situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then where's the balance, right? Like, you think of a lot of these smaller companies, and what I see in the marketplace for other similar tools, you can spin up something that's newer and looks fresher and has different features, but it can't support, the 40,000 person global companies because it needs to do extra other things. And that's what I've seen from the inside of many of my prior jobs is like you can optimize for your small to mid-sized business, your super small with the new shiny thing. And that can work great for those small groups and everyone loves it. And then you try and apply it at a big company and it starts to break down real fast. And it feels like where Atlassian is trying to go the other way. They've got this product that was optimized and designed over 20 plus years for bigger use cases, or it's gotten there because over time they've built this all out. And now they're going, I like what these other folks are doing. How do we also do that?
Yeah, and that's how we end up with Jira with the ClickUp UI.
What's wrong with ClickUp?
Nothing. But to Rob's point here, like I'm totally gonna switch over to ClickUp, and it's gonna be because of that dumb UI.
We got a comment popped up. Team managed projects are there to make Alex go use ClickUp.
Yep.
That's right. Nothing wrong with ClickUp. I like ClickUp. I enjoy ClickUp. I got
just
scared.
Don't think it's flexible enough to handle real enterprise work yet.
That's the scary part. ClickUp can do literally anything you throw at it.
Challenge accepted. Anything.
Anything. We have to have. We should do a competition one day where we're like, okay, chat, give us a use case. We're gonna make Jira do it, and then ClickUp do it, and I guarantee you, ClickUp will do it.
Well, let's do a quick informal. Folks in the chat, if you could drop in some things you would like to see ClickUp do. And he said anything. He didn't say only stuff similar to Jira. He didn't say task tracking. Anything. It can make me a coffee. I would like ClickUp coffee.
And will it be in 20 minutes? Over to you, Rodney.
I'm just thinking, ClickUp, design me a mission to Pluto. It's got to land on the surface.
Okay, now land or land safely?
Land safely on surface. Good call.
You guys are cute. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, so then with the idea that it can do anything, and with Rob, right, that you're gonna go help folks learn how to do that. Like, where do you even start to
That's the problem. That's why I stay in Jira.
But with right, so you've been developing a lot of classes.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that training, and where do you even start with that? Like, where what's the first thing somebody needs to know?
Right, that's part of the challenge and the fun. For those of us who have been in the system, it's really easy to get stuck on, look at this cool niche thing or check out this advanced whatever that we think is exciting. And part of the challenge is to pull ourselves back and go, what's the beginner? I teach and train a lot of martial arts, And cool, I know this really advanced form, but when I have a brand new beginner, if Alex started tomorrow, I couldn't expect him to do that. I'd have to remember, all right, how do you make a fist properly? How do you stand? How do you do all these things that are just second nature right now? So thinking when I first started, how do you log in? Like for someone who's brand new, that can be a hurdle. In Confluence, how do you make a page? If you don't know, like, I think there's a create button. Maybe it's that. I always think back early in my career, I worked in an industrial shipyard when these guys they build ships out of steel. And I had to go tell this guy, like, you can't use a paper form to requisition parts. You have to use a computer. And like I've never seen terror in someone's eyes, like his pupils dilated and he's like, oh my God, like that level of thing. So I think back to when I first started, I knew nothing, like nothing. Didn't know what Confluence was, didn't know what Jira was. That's where I go to put in a bug. I start from that and then I build forward. And it's a good reminder for me, like all the things that I just do subconsciously. Like I know to check and add columns or check to hide fields or whatever the things are, go look at the workflow to see what it can move to. If I'm doing that automatically, that's a good reminder for Rob to stop and go, wait a minute, I can go teach someone this, or someone is struggling with this, I can go help them.
But it almost kind of feels like cheating though, right? Because it's like you're teaching Jira, but in such an easy mode.
Is it easy? Like, and that's like, for us, it is easy. And that's the thing I struggle to remember, right? I can go in right now and spin up a whole new Jira and Confluence instance and make it work and do something with the team. You know, throw a rock and you hit someone else using it and they cannot do any of that. And so it's easy from the sense of like, yeah, that's content I can go make, but it's incredibly powerful and enabling for those people who don't know it.
So let me ask you this question, because I struggled with this about 2 weeks ago when I did a video called How to Get Started with Jira.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with creating a Jira project. And I hit the junction. Do I tell them how to make a team managed project? Because in that case, I can make a 5-minute video. Or do I teach them how to make a company managed project, in which case I'm going to need a few hours?
That's also a great question, right? Because as instructors or content creators or people guiding folks, we have to first make decisions. And part of that's thinking, okay, who is this for? When I think of an organization, say there's 10,000 people working at JQuil Inc. Folks in the chat, what is JQuil? No one say anything. What is JQuil?
I call her my girlfriend now. I was just on a call and I was like, let me introduce you to my girlfriend, JQuil.
Exactly.
Oh, no. This is spinning out of control. So JQuil.
We have a special episode of the Jira Life After Night or After Dark if you want to come join us.
Yeah, send me the invite. But we've got company JQuil, 10,000 people. Of those 10,000 people, how many are going to be an org admin? 3? That's
Hopefully.
1. Yeah, 1/2. There's a consultant maybe. So 0.001%. Liz is saying it's Jaquan's trans EDM hit making cousin. I like that one. So out of that group, how many are space admins in Confluence or soon to be space admins in Jira? Maybe 100. So 0.1%. You've got 99% of people who are not that. That's what I think about. So most people, most of the time, do not care about making a company managed project because they're never, ever going to do it. They'll need to know things about it, to your point, Alex. Like if I go to Rodney and say, Rodney, I need a company managed project. If I know to let him know I've got this workflow and I need this name and here's why I need it and here's the data I need, that helps Rodney and his expertise. But I don't need to know the mechanics and the steps.
Right. But then you hit this problem.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking at the comment? Team manage has their place for sure, but usually I'm migrating them to company manage 3 months later because they want visibility across all projects.
It's usually the case, right? The new person comes in, they've heard of Jira, maybe they use it in another company or something, but then they need to quickly get up on the advanced version of Jira.
Yeah, and that's where there's some friction and tension, right? Like we need to empower folks to be aware of what they're doing. So when I run a training on the difference between team and company manage, it's going to be like, hey, team manage will get you up and going. If you absolutely need it right now, you don't want to have to go through, I'll pick on Rodney because he's the Jira guy. You know, Rodney's busy working on this DC migration. Okay, let's let Rodney do that. I need to be tracking work today, team manage project, go run with it. Understanding that in 3 months, in 6 months, I'm going to have to go to Rodney and be like, help me out. I think it's like it's a knowledge gap where people see the look shiny, the button to create the project. And we, the royal we, like us and Atlassian, have not done enough to educate and make people understand the consequence.
But
So
to
I understand
insult to injury, though, going back to the conversation from the beginning, I think this divide of one version of Jira has issues, another version of Jira has work items, one version of Jira still has epic links and parent links, and the other one doesn't. It is so confusing when you're a new person to go to the internet and Google, how do I link something together? Because it doesn't exist in one and it exists in the other.
Yes, and that's exactly what I'm trying to get at with the content, right? That is the 99.8% of people who are not the org admin, not the project admin. They don't know. And because of their, I'll use the term ignorance, not as a bad thing, but because of their lack of knowledge, they suffer. That is what I'm trying to get at. They should know, oh, we're on cloud. That means this. And that's the hard part. And that's why a lot of my trainings start with 10 minutes talking about basic terms. What is a work item? Well, it used to be called an issue. It's basically the
Oh,
same
that's
thing.
why I drop out of your classes every time.
Yes,
Well, you're not his audience, is basically it.
Apparently.
100%.
I mean, I just hang around to talk with chat.
Yeah, I love having Rodney in there because he backs me up. Like my challenge with any given system is I've learned them through my own painful experience. I call it beating my head into the keyboard. I was forced to figure it out because I didn't have an Alex, a Rodney, a Sarah, a Rob to help me. I just was told you're using Confluence now. Now that means I have
To be
blind spot,
fair,
Yeah.
I was too.
Yeah.
right? But now I'm in a different spot, so now I can look back and help those folks. That said, all the blind spots I have, I need help with. So that's why I'm really thankful that folks like Rodney jump in, and that's why, Alex, I'm not making content on Jira for you. Although maybe I will. I'll see what I can find out here.
Well, and you
Well-
had the curiosity, which is so critical to this too, right? Because you could have just been one of those people who also just walks away. And I think that's something maybe a lot of the creators have in common is the curiosity and the desire to know more and then to share it. And then that keeps you a little more in it. Runny.
I mean, I do want to touch on something because there is a particular type of content you've been making, and I want to touch on it because it's something we have been doing too, and that's the certification study guides.
Mhm.
And I will argue, at least for myself and maybe Alex as well, that content is just as much for us as it is for the people who are watching it.
Oh,
We absolutely
100%.
love hearing stories of people who have taken our study guide or listened to it and then gone certified. But when we're in the moment, we're doing studying. We're studying because we know we have this exam coming up.
Yeah, and that's I started the first one I did. I wanted to earn the ACP 420, Jira Service Management Project Administrator, or whatever it's called.
Managing.
Oh yeah,
Jira
that
Service
one.
Management.
There's so many. I get all the numbers mixed up. I'll introduce the training and look at the
Did
title.
you
and
ever
like,
hear
"Whoop."
about I thought that the 620 was the hardest test and the 120 was the easiest test because, college.
Yeah,
I wanted
Oh, yeah.
and they're like,
I
no,
gotta
we
run
just
to that.
randomly pick numbers. I was like, not cool. Man, not cool.
I mean, then the 920, the Confluence Essentials,
I
is
know.
going to be
That's
way
why
up there.
I remember Bob making fun of me. He's like, if you thought that was hard, wait until you hit the 900 series.
Confluence
That's like-
ones are the hardest.
To be
Postgraduate.
clear, of the original data center series, the Confluence one was the hardest.
Yes,
Hands
Confluence,
down.
number one. To that point, though, Rodney, I started. We've got a comment. Rob makes content Alex will never watch about Confluence, Trello. The list goes on and on and on.
Every once in a while I sit down, like somebody makes a video like you, and I'm like, I should watch it to learn something new.
And then you don't.
And I don't. I will also tell you that I have a really nasty habit of listening on everything at 1.5 speed now.
Oh
So
yes,
life is just so slow to me now.
that really messes up me, Alex, because then I'll meet that person in real life, or I'll talk to them, and like, your voice sounds weird.
No, I have a really bad habit where my attention span when I'm interacting with real human beings is just like, can you speed it up? I don't-
Chris Rogers has a suggestion. I'm going to make Alex a ClickUp video.
I'm gonna make you a ClickUp video.
Thank you.
I'm all for this, but I think we should save it for the end of March, beginning of April timeframe, for no reason in particular.
What's happening at the end of March and beginning of April?
Well, the Ides of March.
Oh, I know. Our last one that got us into
April Fools.
what did you become, the Monday.com guy?
Yeah, I actually did reserve that domain. It had a point
amazing.
to or the Monday.com guy or something like that points back to the JiraGuy.com.
Well, does ClickUp have certifications though?
All these other tools are they don't compete anywhere near. Atlassian is like here, and like every other tool is down here.
They do. They have a whole university.
Oh, they have a whole university. Ooh.
Mhm.
But do they have proctored certification tests that you guys can?
No, I think they have universities, Rob, but I think it's just learning just how to use their tool. Nothing.
There's a ClickUp expert certificate. I'm just reading what I'm seeing. 35 question exam, 80% or higher, you get an expert certificate.
Look at
I'm
that.
gonna guess not proctored. Just
Probably
a
not.
guess.
Hey, Alex,
Yo.
next April,
Yeah.
let's go for it.
Okay.
Post your ClickUp certified experts.
Airtable
They have
something.
swag.
Airtable something I would want to get on. You know what I like about ClickUp though? ClickUp does have affiliates. I wouldn't mind Atlassian getting affiliates. Okay, you guys don't know what affiliates are. You
I
can,
was gonna say, explain more what that is.
so
in
with
terms of-
ClickUp, I can sign up, and if I make ClickUp videos and people sign up using my URL, I get monies from everybody that signs up for ClickUp.
They're called solutions partners, Alex.
Yeah, but that's at levels that are astronomically high, right? There was an idea about Jira being for all at one point, where people can afford a solution partner but are gonna go get Jira for
Jira
10
for
or 11
all.
people.
Yeah, I think that goes into some of that like whole billing and licensing and what that entails on the back end to make those things happen. All right, so how many certs do you have now, Rob? And what's on the horizon?
Across the board or just in Atlassian?
We'll go stick with Atlassian, and then
Now we stick with Atlassian, but when I said ClickUp can do anything, we're trying to end world hunger.
now we're gonna add those.
It's like ACP 420, ACA 920, ACA 910, the cloud one, working on the
What do you
520.
think of those ACAs?
Again, they're targeting the 99% of people who aren't admins, and I think that's smart. I think that's smart because, as we briefly touched on earlier, that person who goes in and makes a team managed project doesn't know what the heck they're doing. And that causes friction and problems. And that's where you end up in an all hands at a 40,000 person company with people complaining that Jira is broken. I saw a CIO have to get in front of 40,000 people and explain how they're going to fix Confluence. And it had nothing to do with the platform and everything to do with how it was being used. So I think the ACA series are going for that audience. It's the average person, right?
And
So we're not average?
We've needed something like that for years because I've had just the average user like, hey, I want to get certified to use Jira. What do I do? And I had to tell them, look, don't do the Atlassian certifications. They're for people like me. You're going to be in way over your head if you try and take the ACPs.
Yeah, that's the thing. And even when I look at the ACPs, you know, it's in the 520, the org admin one I'm looking at right now. I chunked that out across 8 weeks, 8 1-hour sessions. That's just to get the basics. That's not including other outside study time. Throw a rock at a company, you hit someone, they're not going to want to spend 8 hours studying for learn how to use Jira. They're going to want a quick, okay, 2 hours over a month, 45 minutes. I know some basics. I'm good to go. Now, it's interesting. When I first took the 920, I was like, who is this for? This is the Confluence Essentials. Looking back, it's like, okay, again, this is for your average person. I don't know how many people are going to be on their own initiative going out and getting these. So I think Atlassian has a challenge to figure out, how do we get more engagement with them? How do we reach out to organizations? You know, I'll pick on General Electric. Their name came to mind. Let's say they use Jira. How do you get General Electric to go get their workers training on those certifications? And how do you prove value behind them?
You sent them to Team Europe.
Yeah, come meet me at Team Europe. I'll be there too.
Was that only for champions, Ronnie, or was that for everybody that went to Team Europe?
Only champions.
So champions get all the certs for free at Team.
Well, we have to earn them. We don't just get them.
Yeah.
Wait, do we just get them?
No, we do not.
No, you have to earn them.
You do just get the jacket though by showing up.
There's a jacket?
Yeah.
There is a jacket. Alex
There
is a
was.
special case, but he's not allowed to wear his jacket yet. And why aren't you allowed to wear it yet, Alex?
Because I'm one cert away from getting
He's not an expert.
That's a piece of paper.
No, it's a jacket, apparently.
It is. Well, yes. Now a meaningless jacket. I'm so mad.
Yeah, but like that's the group it's for. And that's where, for us as the more expert, the deeper end of the pool, so to speak, it's easy for us to forget the shallow end. Like, what was it like when we started? And most people are not going to want to go deep. Most people just need to make content, edit the page, create the work item, use the board. And that's what the ACAs are for. I think the challenge is adoption and engaging random worker number 12 to go actually want them and to see the value. But like, I can't imagine some random person at a company, unless they're really interested in it on their own, being like, yeah, I'm going to go get the ACA 900. Woohoo.
Right.
Like there's that gap of how do you get the awareness and desire in the ad card model of learning.
So I would say these ACAs are a little bit closer to the ClickUp thing we just saw then.
Potentially.
You know, all I was going to say is I honestly think $100 doesn't feel right to me for an ACA.
Yeah, too expensive, right? I'd be at like $25-$50.
Yeah.
I get why they do that. Like, you want folks to have skin in the game. It's like employee benefits. If you get free medical care through your company, you're more likely to use it and drive up costs than even if you pay $1. So I get why there's a cost associated to it. But to that point, the ACPs are what, $250? So it's about half the cost for an ACA, which is 30 questions and much lighter lift. So I think it could be cheaper, and that would make it much more accessible, or find some way for organizations to buy 1,000 of them, at a discount and then give them to people.
That's a good idea.
Just to get people to do them. Because I'm constantly talking to folks in the sessions. I've got one tomorrow morning on the ITSM and JSM ACA. I forget the number 9 something. It's very advanced, Alex. It's up in the 900s. Yeah. But part of the discussion is going to be go talk to your employer.
Study.
Yeah. Part of it's going to be like, go talk to your employer. Maybe they can spot you the $100 if you pass.
Yeah.
But
and
I think something.
I would imagine that cost has to do with the fact that they're proctored, right? So if it was an unproctored, I totally get, that could be part of what drives the cost. So how could you maybe?
That's an expensive proctoring if it's $100.
What's the whole administrative cost?
Skill badges, when Atlassian had them, were only $25 and they were unproctored. So, and they were again, somewhere between 10 and 30 questions. So,
yeah, I don't know where that solution might be or whatever, but I don't know. I've said it before. For me, they're just fun. and give me a more structured way of learning some things that I might not have pursued otherwise.
Yeah, it's a good entry if people can find it and if they have $100.
And if they have $100. And then, so how do you learn about Trello?
Trello.
Wait, are we ready to make the announcement?
That Jira is rebranding at Trello? You know about that too? Wow.
This one?
This one? Yeah, so I don't know if anyone saw that GIF of me and Brittany just doing this on LinkedIn. So when I first became an Atlassian creator, I met Brittany. I knew Trello existed, Brittany Joyner. She literally wrote the book on Trello. It's right there behind my Space Marine. Trello aficionado. I said, hey, let's make an online learning course on Trello together. And she's like, great. And then about 18 months later, we finally started doing it. And now the course is almost ready to go live. So it's how to use Trello for project managers. Because as project managers, I've used throw a rock and hit a tool. I use that expression a lot. But it's one thing to know, like, oh, here's what the custom fields are and the due date. It's another way to express it in a certain way. In this case, project management. So that course is going to be going live hopefully in about a week. I'm working on a live session with Brittany to kind of really announce it and to show off some of it. We've got some beta folks going right now. Find me on LinkedIn if you want to get in on an early access kind of thing to review.
I heard it was a 2-hour and 45-minute commitment.
Oh, it is. But you can listen to it at 2x. And here we kind of talk like this. So I talk really fast, Alex, and you get through faster.
Yes. Okay. So. We were kind of joking around about how, some of the voices are like dark mode. And, you've got the dark mode, the deep dark mode voice. And I've got the light mode voice. Brittany at 2 times speed has got to be something else.
That would be something else. She already speaks at 2 times speed. Just
exactly. Which is she's the best, right? That's like Benedict. That's just like that is Brittany. Like Brittany's just
super high energy, super engaging. Yeah.
I'm gonna give a Mike Day, and I'm gonna write a book on how not to Trello or how not to be a project manager with Trello or something. The opposite of your book.
No, see, because that's what I'm gonna push for Team 26 is all of our logistics in Trello. I'm a big believer in that.
Are you?
Yeah.
I just don't see the place for Trello. In the world of Jira, I don't see the place for Trello.
Okay, so Here's the higher order thinking, right? Again, my background's in systems, not just in Jira. So it's what's the use case? Like
There isn't one.
There is.
Yeah, you've got blinders
Not
on, my
for
friend.
you,
are
Alex.
Yeah, you're Dr. Jira,
So-
not Dr. I'm open to tools.
No,
Alex, I think you need to explain what you did at Team 23 at the Trello booth.
What did I do at Team 23 at the Trello booth? Did I tell him why did you exist?
Yes, exactly what you did.
That was the Jira product. That was the Jira work management product manager. I was like, I walked right up to the Jira work management PM, and I'm like, why do you guys exist?
Oh my god.
And
What did they say, Alex?
they don't now exist. I was just
Wow.
foreshadowing the future.
Now, it is interesting because you've got these tools. Like if you Venn diagram them, there's certainly an overlap. Trello and Jira, can they track a piece of work, whatever you want to call that, work item, issue, bug, whatever? Yes. Is one more approachable? Oh, hell yeah. Again, think of the 99% of people who are not us, not in the space admin, the Jira admin, the org admin, and you show them Trello and you show them Jira. They're going to go Trello 9 times out of 9. I was going to say 9 times out of 10, but just visually out of the box. Oh, that one. I just click and drag and it goes into the next thing easy. Can Jira do those things? Yes, Alex.
Team managed projects.
Yeah, but is it as
Trello-
intuitive? No.
Here's where I
Which
draw
part?
the line.
Jira and team managed projects and Trello are exactly the same thing.
No.
Incorrect.
Here's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
I draw the line. When I have something that requires structured data, something that needs controls, I need things to flow a specific way and capture specific data at specific points, I use Jira. When I need something unstructured, like planning a family vacation or a move or a smaller project that doesn't require that kind of structure and that kind of controls, I use Trello.
Why wouldn't you just use a team managed work business template?
Because that's
Jira.
still controlled structured data.
But it doesn't have. It's Trello inside of Jira.
No, it's not.
No,
It's
I
not, though.
disagree.
Yeah, it is.
It's Jira inside of Jira.
No, it's the colored backgrounds. It's the ability to columnize however you want.
In
I
a team
don't
managed
think you
project, you can
understand
columnize
what
anywhere
makes
you
Trello
want.
Trello then.
In the business projects, you can call your columns whatever you want in a team managed project.
I still see a difference there. Yeah, lists have no criteria. Yeah, that's where my head is in terms of those columns, right? There's no criteria. They can be anything in there. And it's also could be just that I have somebody I work with who really likes to pull in the personal and the professional a bit, or let's say the operational and the non-operational work sort of in the same place, right? To get one place to track all of it, that Jira might not be
Right.
the place for all of it.
But so, if I'm the CEO of your company, should I have to pay for you to have your personal tracking as well then?
Maybe, but maybe not.
Because for you to go use Trello and
Mhm.
use my company's email address, I am now on the hook for your guard license.
Well, you probably were anyway.
Not if
I'm
you're not using Jira.
But if I'm using Jira, you're already on the hook for it.
Okay,
But if
hang
you're
on.
not.
Now we have a different discussion. This is not Jira versus Trello. This is Trello versus Jira and Guard.
No, because
Versus
no,
cost.
no, because you don't. If you have Jira, you make a team managed project. That's a business template. You don't have to go use Trello. So now you're costing me a license for Trello, and you're costing me a guard license too.
So you want everybody to have a personal team managed project.
It's cheaper than not.
This is also a different discussion in my mind because now we're thinking I'm a corporate person doing it and my team is already on Jira, right? The environment's already dictated. I have access to Jira. This is not I'm evaluating the systems for what I need anymore.
And who evaluates it for one individual, if not for the entire company?
We are also presupposing in this case that we're in a company example, right?
We
Sarah
always
was
are,
saying,
because remember, you guys shot down my whole affiliate thing because that's why we have solution partners. What solution partner is reaching out to one individual in his basement somewhere in the middle of Ohio?
I mean, what do they say? Niches get
mean-
riches. There's our margin.
How many affiliate or how many solution partners reach out to you for sponsorship?
I have a business. And every decision's for a business. We're talking businesses here,
I'm
guys.
still they're reaching out to some guy
Atlassian has
in
a
California.
sales team, but Atlassian has a sales team to attract businesses.
All right. So again, different use cases, right? Small TJL is a small business. You can't argue me. You will not convince me otherwise.
We use Jira. Just in case you were wondering.
Oh no, I know, right? But I challenge: did TJL ever actually evaluate tools, or did he just go Jira because we know it?
No, Bob tried to get us on Trello for something.
That didn't answer my question. You didn't evaluate tools; you just went with Jira because you know it.
Actually, we went with Excel because it was quick and dirty, and then we went
There we go.
with-
There we go.
Because we knew it.
We went with Excel because we know it. I sent a link to Philip Braddock today. I'm working on something with him, and he's like, "Thanks for the Google Drive link." I'm like, "Sorry," and he crosses out Google Drive and is like, "Confluence." No, in reverse, he crossed out Confluence and it's like Google Drive link. I'm like, "Sorry, man." I was like, "For the habit, I love Excel."
Yes,
No.
thanks, Selena, for getting everybody off Excel.
Yeah, so Rob, to answer
Yeah,
your
we're
question,
only going to supplement. We're not going to replace. We're going to supplement. How's that? Because I want to be able to see things on my phone as we're running around, that I don't have to go look at Jira issues and craziness that way. But go on.
so really, what you're arguing is we need a better mobile app for Jira.
Or use the right tool for the right thing. Maybe Jira is not the right tool for that kind of management.
The example I use in my trainings, you can take a screwdriver and try and hit a nail in. It might work, but a hammer works a lot better. And frequently, like again, thinking corporately, I'm forced to use a tool because that's what exists. I was at a company once where we used Asana to track implementations, and finally, someone said, "Why are we using this one and not any other tool?" Like, we evaluated other systems. And they said, "Oh, well, one day the VP just walked in and said, use that one," and walked out. Like,
Totally.
that was the assessment, and we suffered for months, if not years, because
I
of the lack of
had a
evaluation.
team where we evaluated Jira and ClickUp, and I obviously made the case for Jira, and the team won.
I'm just looking at the chat here. Stu's saying Trello's a hammer and Jira's a nail gun. Nail guns terrify me. I don't want to be shooting it. Like, I know they don't do this, but in video games, they fire nails like at supersonic speed through houses and things. Those just terrify me. So I'm going to stick to my hammer.
The analogy I got with Brittany is that Trello
Thank you,
is
Rodney.
2D Mario. Trello is 2D Mario, and Jira is 3D Mario.
Interesting. See, those old school platformers, though, having a huge resurgence. I have so much nostalgia for them. You just sold me on Trello, Alex. Thank you.
Now you're quite welcome. That's one more free license I can give to somebody else.
Although, super funny story. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Boom.
My mom had my Nintendo 64 in her attic.
The box or
I
the
got it.
console?
The console was in here. It's plugged into another TV. I've got GoldenEye. I've got Mario 64. So when you say 3D Mario, I think of this thing.
Yeah, no, I do too, and I have 2 of those right now. I gotta give you guys a tour of my closet one day.
Wait. We've got a new one. Trello is Zelda, Jiro is Sekiro, and Shadows Die Twice.
I know that book.
Dude, I have yet
I
to beat
know that
Majora's
book.
Mask. Oh
Anyone
my God.
want a Majora's Mask?
I was in
guide?
6th grade when I was trying to beat Majora's Mask, and I could not for the life of me figure out the time travel.
I
You know
could
how
never
hard
do.
time travel is for a 11-year-old?
I could never do Eponia to get the horse in Ocarina of Time. My girlfriend at the time, in like 8th grade or whatever, had to come over and do it for me. It was great.
I had a
I
girlfriend
still
who was all over
remember
Twilight
those,
Princess. And I got
Ocarina
the fishing
sequences.
rod in Twilight Princess, and that's as far as I got in Twilight Princess.
Sorry, Rodney.
I still remember all, or at least most of the Ocarina sequences for Ocarina of Time.
Oh, nice. Now I'm hearing
man.
some in my head. I'm not going to touch that one, Stu.
It's been raining here, so someone played the Song of Storms, apparently.
That's what we need. We need a website that when you go to it, it tells you the weather, but with the song.
So, Rob, you know how you were talking about creating the trainings, for the people who are at that like early level of, maybe just being introduced into Confluence, just being introduced to Jira. Could you go ahead and make me a training for the last 5 minutes of the Jira Live?
Oh, for sure. That would be hang on, let me write down follow-up videos.
I think we have a show ideas channel. I think we need to do like the Jira Life games or something.
I'm out. I cannot participate in that.
No,
is
you have
not-
never played
it is
Kingdom
not
Hearts? It's one of my
The
favorite games
episode
of all
for
time.
all.
No games ever, Sarah, of any kind?
Not
still don't let her fool you. She plays some
No.
games.
no.
She plays
not
mind
any
games.
role. See, this is how like not into like no role playing, no RPG, right? I don't think
Role-playing
I've ever
game.
done any RPG games.
Here's
Okay.
one.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
So like, yeah, where you play as a character and you evolve them through a story where you're the magician or
Yes.
you're the Mario or the whatever.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've done like a 45-minute game, like through
Right on.
work as a team building thing, but like,
That's a game.
otherwise,
Uh,
no.
Bob, I've written that one down. I will be happy to do TGL reactions. And that's where it's interesting, Sarah, because we think of games and gamers and like it's a stereotypical thing that pops into most of our heads. But really, like at one point, the biggest gaming demographic was like women in their 40s to 60s.
Oh, I couldn't believe that.
And it was because of
Candy
the
Crush.
casual gaming. Yeah, the Candy Crush, the Farmvilles, like
Oh,
not the first person shooters.
Oh, Sarah's like, yeah, I play games.
yeah, and that's why I was saying like RPG games with like super deep stories. No,
No,
but
Halo?
I've been, but other just like pass the time games certainly.
There you go.
Then, but I keep talking about I've been reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, and so I'm starting. Oh, it's really good. Anyway, I'm starting to understand some things because there's lots and lots and lots of references to the games. And so it
Dungeon
makes more
Crawler's
sense to me.
Carl, a man, his ex-girlfriend's cat, a game show unlike anything in the universe. Okay. Well, I'll have to check that out. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
My mom was all over Tetris.
Yeah,
That just got shot through the other store.
I literally stayed up.
Hey,
all
don't get
night
us on
the first time
copyright
I played
strike.
Tetris.
I would love if that got us a copy.
The voice.
I think if that does get us a copyright strike,
Would have
Rob,
been worth it.
you have to adopt the nickname The Voice of Atlassian.
Fair. Let me know how that goes.
I'll let you know. They're usually pretty quick.
My favorite Tetris was Tetrisphere, which was on N64, and it was a ball. So 3-dimensional Tetris. You had to rotate the ball around and drop the pieces in that way. That one was a lot of fun.
Wait, so what I'm hearing though from the chat and the fact that we still have 15 people in here, you guys want to watch us play some video games? Because I got my capture card ready to go.
I've got a capture card too.
What if we do this? What if we got to pick the game, but we have a game and then we have to Rodney's playing it, but then Alex tells him what to do with Jira tasks, and then Sarah or someone has to update the status as Rodney completes them.
Yes.
You laugh, but Lena and I were literally talking about making a game where you have bugs that come at you, and you gotta plan out your sprint in order to like an RPG, right?
Yeah,
where
so
you gotta
you
get
stomp
enough
on them
story
as you
points.
sprint away.
Yeah, but then
And-
you squashing out bugs and you retrieve their story points, and you got to get enough story points. To,
And that's
complete
why-
your sprint.
And I was thinking work items, starting to call them quests instead, right?
Yeah.
This is your
That
quest,
probably would have been a better name for them.
right? Like
I've had this idea
Anything would have been a
forever.
better name for that.
Well, because then you
I've
could
had
have a
this
side
idea
quest.
forever for taking a survival game, like something like a Minecraft or some game like that, and just setting people loose, organize them as a scrum team. Like, okay, here's what our goal is for however long we're going to run this, and we're going to do this in sprints. Where each session is a sprint.
So
I
one
like it.
night in Minecraft is a sprint,
No, one session.
one session. But there's got to be
Like-
consequences. Like you got to die somehow.
I mean, the game provides the
Can I
consequences for
respawn?
you.
You can
Yeah.
respawn the next sprint.
See, I know some terms. I have
I was gonna say,
kids.
Sarah got the turn. Yeah.
That would be interesting though. Like you lose if you have any stories that roll over to the next sprint. Like you got to finish all your tasks in the current sprint.
pretty much every
And-
team I've ever been
And the
on
best
will
part is
fail.
you got to plan your sprint, and it's got to be 100% accurate. Otherwise, you
No one
lose.
will win. Everyone will
Everyone
be dead
will
by the
lose.
first.
But that's
sprint.
what every executive in the world ever wants, right? You planned to it. Why didn't you finish it?
Then the game is geared towards those execs. You say, okay, you want to learn how sprints work? Here's a game for
Here
you to
you go.
play.
Go play
I want
this
to always
one.
lose.
And make sure you put their names in it a lot too. Like I don't know. This is the personal thing. One time somebody showed me a personalized mailing where their names were on it and their company names were on it. And this was way, 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 way back. And the head of the company was like, "Can we do marketing like this, where we put their names and things?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Yeah, we
Perfect
can."
segue. If you haven't become a member of the channel and you want your name at the end credits,
Get your
become a
name.
member of the channel.
I love it.
The chat's still going on video games. Perfect.
I'm telling
I
you.
know,
So,
right?
so Rob, you'll get a kick out of this. So a couple weeks ago, we were gonna have Dave Meyer come on, right? And that was the day that Google servers went down.
Okay, that's that LinkedIn post. Got it.
Yeah, and we're panicking because we're like, oh crap, how do we we got an hour before this guy comes in and he's a high profile individual and we can't not postpone it and stuff, right? And so I'm over here scrambling with Lena and I decided to go with another tool. And I need help testing the live stream capabilities because it's been a minute since I used that other tool. And so my little cousin, I have a Discord with my cousin and Lena because we do the gaming podcast that I have. And so I just dropped the link into that one, knowing Lena was on there. My little cousin jumps in, and he's in the bathroom.
Oh no,
doing his business. And so he's talking to us while we're on the live stream. So fun fact, go to that live stream. It's still on. He's in the bathroom as he jumped on. But then towards the second half, he finishes his business. But he's playing Fortnite, and we had like 10 people watching him playing Fortnite. And Lena and I were like scrambling, trying to figure out does this camera look good? Does this lighting look good? Does this angle look good?
there's the outtake you need right there.
Yes.
But speaking of outtakes, I also have to compile the BT, the behind the scenes of how we came together for the MCB interview, because that was an adventure in itself.
Yeah.
Which you captured the first moment of it.
Which one?
Yes, you. Us standing outside of the banquet or the team dinner, trying to figure out our plan.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Yeah, that was just a random photograph that I guess helped.
Save it for the record book. It'll be worth $1 million one day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because of
I'll hold you to
inflation,
that.
everything will be.
But yeah, I'm hearing we want. I think the public here wants us playing some Mario.
Sounds like it. Us dragging Alex
Yes.
kicking and screaming from the dinner. Yeah.
I was going to say, do we allude to next week's topic or not? Because that's what it's making me think of.
What is next week's topic? Oh, our retrospective. Come back next week where we're gonna air our dirty laundry.
We
And then we
actually
talk
have a very
about the
special
elephant in the
guest
room.
on for that. We'll be having Mark Kruth from Atlassian on to help us with our retro.
Oh, that'll be good.
I know.
Last time I saw him, he was running around with a giant cart full of camera equipment. So
Wait, but how open is next week's episode gonna be? Like, do we find out all the dirty secrets?
I
Yes.
don't know. We do.
you tell us.
I know.
Should we clear it with our sponsor first?
I mean, they could be on too if they want to.
Oh my god. Well, that's a conversation we'll have after this, right? Because I was
Yeah.
curious. Then we got to get our customer perspective and feedback.
I was gonna say, do we tell
And then
Mark?
put it all in Trello.
But do we tell Mark? Is this stuff's off the table, or is everything on the
Nope.
table?
We did not say anything like that.
No. All right, then really come back next week for a juicy episode.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one for me to start live reacting to, right?
Yes, it will be.
So we know what's up next for us. What's up next for Rob?
Next for Rob, I've got immediately, I've got a martial arts mentee who's getting ready for his black belt. We're going to go work out together. So in bigger though, working on more Udemy courses. I'm excited. I have more time now that I'm freelancing. I can devote that to some learning projects I've got. You'll see me talking with the director of engineering for McLaren's Formula E, their electric F1 car, next Thursday through Udemy. There's like 11,000 people signed up. I'm terrified. This person's going to bring his expertise building race cars, and he's been in various Formula engineering teams for his career, and I'll be bringing that project management lens. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Kind of like MCB and the F1 guy on stage at Team 25.
Maybe. I don't know, honestly. It'll be
It's where
interesting to see how it
F1
goes.
met project management.
Yeah, fair. I did get a kick out of both. Udemy approached me with that, and then also Atlassian. And it seems like everyone's jumping on F1, which is great.
I got to tell you guys a story that I can't tell you, but we got to talk about it after the show.
Oh, wow. Tease. So look for that in the short term, and then more learning content. I've got some interesting ideas on how to help folks learn the Atlassian stuff coming up. So be on the lookout for that coming out of YouTube.
And if people wanted to find you for learning, where would they go?
It's right there on the screen under my name. Hean.tech is my blog and website. I'll be working on updating that. Find me on YouTube at Hean.tech. And I've got live streams most days of the week. Mondays and Fridays are dedicated to certification trainings. So an ACP on Mondays, an ACA on Fridays, with other topics Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that's the best place to find me right now. You can
Wait, you stream every day?
No, 4 days a week. There's 7 days in a week.
Stream almost every weekday?
I'm streaming 3 to 4 days a week. I really enjoy it. Alex and I have had discussions around, how do you do that? I get bored. I'm like, no, it's exciting.
Remember when I almost broke the internet?
That was fun.
And then you followed suit shortly after me and didn't get any crap whatsoever?
Yeah, no one's yelled at me.
You did the exact same thing I did.
You can also find me on Udemy under Hean. I've got Udemy courses, but please go find my live learning on my website. There's a link along the top. You'll get a better rate and I'll get a better payout through Udemy. But I've got a dozen or so courses over there, and be on the lookout for the Trello course coming live in the next week or so.
Man, it sounds almost like you have affiliates.
Kind of.
I had a lot going on. You beat me.
I actually do. There's got to be a group in India. I've got an HR data analytics for beginners course, and there's got to be an affiliate somewhere in the world pumping that, because it constantly gets hundreds of signups a month, and I don't know how.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. On Udemy, I've got like 35,000 students across a dozen courses. So it's incredible to see folks wanting to learn.
Just 35,000.
Only.
I know, right?
You didn't tell people our collaborative efforts that we're doing.
Which ones, Alex?
All of them.
At some point, Alex and I are going to be working on using Jira and Confluence together, because my background, I slant more on the Confluence side. Alex is Dr. Jira. That should be a hint about what he does. So we're also trying to figure out what would be a good collaboration to combine those two things to get them out the door.
Yes. If you need a guest or an opinion.
Oh, for sure.
Review. It'll be a Udemy course.
Oh.
Yep.
You can go review it. Let us know what you think.
Because you know some of my thoughts if you've watched about where that is and how to do that.
I don't know. I lost all respect for everybody that said Trello was cool today. So sorry, guys.
Well, Rob, it's been great having you on. We need to have you on more often.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Apparently, we need to do a gaming show at some point.
A gaming episode? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Guys.
Wait, is this the first time you're on, Rob?
Yeah.
In 2 years?
No one's invited me.
Check your spam.
2
years ago, check your spam.
Yeah, but now, again, I'm freelancing now, so I actually have time. Before, this would have been a lot harder to do in the middle of the day. So anytime you want, let me know. Be happy to come back. It's been fun.
Oh, we definitely want to thank Rob for being here. We also want to thank our sponsor, Revise, for backing us up and helping us bring the show to you. Be sure and like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment, share, all the YouTube things. But as we say here,
ASMR video coming soon.
Yeah, click that like button for an ASMR video. We're like 30 subscribers away from 2,000, so hit that subscribe.
2000, I think Alex should do a TGL ASMR video
For 24 hours.
for 24 hours. But as we say here on the Jira Life, we didn't choose the Jira Life. Jira Life chose us. Thanks for watching.
ASMR Rob.
Thank you for listening to the Jira Life. Our hosts are Alex, Dr. Jira Ortiz, Rodney, the Jira Guy Nissen, and Sarah, #I believe Sarah, right. Our producers are Robert King Bob Wen and Lena Ortiz. You can catch us as we record this podcast live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube at The Jira Life. Be sure to join us and the other Jiramigos of the Peanut Gallery each week to ask questions, add your comments, and tell us what you're up to. If you can't join us live, you can still catch the replay on YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell while you're watching. You can also find us as a podcast on Apple iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you think this podcast deserves a rating, it would be much appreciated as it will help others discover the Jira life. Because we didn't choose the Jira life chose us. Thank you to Revise for backing us up and making the Jira life possible.